All right, we have with us Jessica Stott, who played at the University of Connecticut, played at BH, played at Shaftesbury. She is one of the lead female hockey development coaches at VJ Hockey. Jess, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I appreciate you taking the time to join me. I did not twist her arms, people. Let that be known. All right, let's start with your development process. You're from Niverville. You
Yes,
play
I
minor
am.
hockey and go.
Yeah, so I started playing hockey in Niverville. I played boys hockey growing up because when I was younger, there wasn't really much for options for female hockey. So I played for the Niverville Clippers all through my minor hockey, probably until the first year of hitting. I tried it out for probably a week or two, and I just wasn't really keeping up. I was short. All the guys were taller than me. I was pretty intimidated getting into the corners. I wasn't a super confident player. I was a good skater, that kind of stuff, but I was never confident on the ice. So when it came to that kind of contact, it kind of discouraged me. So that's when I decided to go to female hockey. I was about 13. There was one team in my area. It was St. Adolphe Hawks that had a female program. So I started playing there with a bunch of people I didn't know because growing up playing boys hockey, I was the only girl, or there was one other girl on my team. So it was definitely intimidating, but I really enjoyed the transition to the female hockey game. It was a lot more focus on speed. It wasn't as much body contact and roughing in the corners. It was a real focus on skill, speed, and kind of systems and that kind of thing, which I really enjoyed. I stuck with the female hockey all the way until I finished up my hockey career, actually. So after St. Adolphe Hawks, I played for probably 2 years. And then my provincial Eastman team had a double A team for Bantam. And I tried out for that team and I made it. And I played for double A Eastman for 1 or 2 years. And then I played for Eastman Triple A for my midget year, probably 1 year. And then I made the transition to prep hockey and traveling hockey, which was a pretty big decision. It took up pretty much the majority of my time, and I had to switch schools for that.
You played boys when you were little. Do you think that's an
Mhm,
advantage or a disadvantage? I've done a few interviews and I've had people
mhm.
say both sides that the boys, it's a little more competitive and a little more intense. And some people
Yeah.
say, you know what, as a female, you don't get to really feel the camaraderie of the team because you feel kind of secluded because you have to get dressed in a different room and it's kind of
Yeah.
it's not the same. I want your opinion because you lived it.
Yeah. So I would say just kind of what you said, there's opinions on both sides. I would say there's benefits and there's things that kind of hinder the transition a little bit. So for male hockey, boys hockey, whatever, it was really nice because I personally was friends with boys for the most part growing up. I didn't have a lot of female friends. So for the most part, they were my like really close friends. It was tough not being in the dressing rooms for like getting changed, that kind of stuff. It kind of that's a really important element of the team environment, of hockey and that kind of thing. So that was a little bit tough, but I always had another girl or two that was with me and I became really close with them. So that was really nice because I had like a best friend with me all the time when I was there. And on the ice, it wasn't like the boys didn't pass to you, nothing like that. We still felt really like included, which was good. But I do think the female game is a little bit different. There's a lot more focus on moving the puck fast, moving your feet, always head manning the puck. But in the boys hockey, I found that a common theme was a lot of showing off. Kind of whoever was the best on your team got the puck and dangled all the way through. There
Yep.
wasn't really an emphasis on that kind of team play. So when I switched to the female hockey, it was a lot better in that sense. And I think I learned a lot more about the system of hockey, a lot like learning more about my position, that kind of thing. And it did give me a little bit of confidence because I never felt like I was less than the guys or not as skilled as the guys or they have the one up, they're stronger, they're faster, they're better at hockey kind of thing. So I think it was better for me to come out of my comfort zone and become a more of an influential player and a more effective player on the ice. So there were benefits and doubts. I do think I battled harder. I do think that was beneficial, but overall, I think there are benefits to both. And now that there's more access to female hockey at a younger age, I think that's a great route to go is sticking with female hockey through.
So do you feel now, as you've kind of seen the path and you're a lead instructor and a mentor with a lot of female teams, Is it better for the girls to play with the girls just to have the total package? It's more them, it's more their teammates, it's more the family, camaraderie, the dressing room, the on ice. Or is it a little bit different for each person that maybe they'll benefit playing with the boys?
I think it's a little bit different each person. I think overall, if I were to generalize it, I think it is beneficial playing female hockey all the way through because you get used to that game, you get used to the speed, you get used to not playing with the hitting. And I do think that team environment is really good. But on the other side, you can also, I know a common theme with girls hockey is a lot of drama, that kind of thing. So if you're with a group of people that you're confident in, you are friends with, that don't seem to have that kind of personality type, I think it is beneficial to play female hockey all the way through.
Did you play multi-sport? I know you're an
Yes.
athlete. What other sports did you do? Did you play spring hockey?
So spring hockey was a big thing when I was growing up. Like if you didn't play spring hockey, you didn't go anywhere kind of thing. It was just what everyone was doing.
So let's be clear. I'll help cut this out just a little bit.
Yeah.
There's a big gap in our ages. Spring hockey didn't even exist when I was a kid. That's how old I am. So sorry, I just had to throw that out there and make it feel good.
No. So I think spring hockey was kind of, I'm a 95. That's when I was born. So for the anywhere from like 92 to like 99 was a big year for spring hockey. I played almost every spring since probably grade 6 or 7. It was a lot of fun. The showcases were great and all that kind of stuff. I really enjoyed it. But I also played a lot of other sports. I played lots of soccer. I always kind of ran into trouble because I would hit the other players by accident, or I'd run into them incidentally, causing like that kind of accident. Yeah, exactly. So that was always kind of tough to adjust to, is kind of taking the contact out, even though I thought it was clean contact. No contact is clean contact. So I loved playing soccer. Going into high school, I played volleyball. That was probably my second favorite sport. I love volleyball so much. I also played basketball briefly. I didn't really like it. I wasn't much good. I fouled out every game. It just wasn't fun, so I quit.
I think you're aggressive, right?
Yeah.
I see a theme coming. The contact basketball.
Yeah. So
contact, but hey.
Well, in basketball, if you reach for the ball and you hit the arm, foul right there. So couldn't get used to that. Volleyball was really fun. I also played field hockey my last couple of years. I'd say like grade 9 and 10. I played field hockey, and I actually went to provincials and stuff. And Western Canada games and stuff like that for it, which was a lot of fun. I also played badminton. Yeah.
So a lot. So we're seeing
all the sports.
Athlete develops not just with hockey. My wife played field hockey for a university setting at the University of Manitoba. Can you explain how hard that sport is? People think it's just like a game of soccer, but your stick is short, so your back hurts the whole time because you're bent over. You can't use the backhand of your blade.
Nope.
To me, is the craziest rule ever, because why do you even have it then? You must, and you
can only be right-handed.
And you can only, I didn't know that one actually.
Luckily I was right-handed. Yeah. Cause the whole sport is done right-handed. So, I got recruited for it through, I kind of forget how I got into the sport, but, it was something through Eastman. They reach out to all the provincial players in Team Manitoba, like that kind of stuff. They reach out to us to come kind of build the sport of field hockey, because there wasn't really much in Manitoba for that. So we came out, tried out a couple practices. It was a lot different. First off, I wasn't a great runner, so that really sucked. It was just running all over a football field. You're hunched over the whole time. Your hands have to be super close for the most part. Your stick is like just up, like past your knees maybe. And it's just so hard to keep control of that, because you have to roll your wrist over. You can't stick handle back and forth. And hitting it, you're like, your face is a foot from the ground, and you have to like lean forward. You have to sweep. There's a bunch of footwork to the shots and whatnot. And it was definitely a tough sport to get used to, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, cool. Something I have yet to talk to on any interviews I've done is field hockey. So I'm excited about that. So you just decided to go to prep hockey. You decide on the Balmoral Hall. Are they the Blazers? Is that what I believe they are?
I think so.
Yeah. Why did you decide to go there?
So for finishing up my first year, kind of, or maybe second year Eastman, whatever, midget year of Eastman, I played with Shelby Bram, and that got a lot of attention from a lot of schools, Hockey Canada, that kind of thing. So it kind of just introduced me to like my options after finishing up like Winnipeg and provincial hockey. That was never really something I knew about. I didn't really know much about college routes and that kind of thing. Now there's a focus on it in like grade 5.
Right.
But then I didn't really know much about it, but I saw that the next step was looking for schools and trying to figure out if I wanted to play college hockey. And that year was Shelby Bram's last year. So once she was gone, like the next year, I knew there wasn't going to be as much attention and draw to her. So we kind of wanted to see what other teams I could play for that would also get seen. I knew a couple of my friends that were on that team with me were looking at other options for teams as well. And a couple were looking at BH, and I already knew some girls that were already applied or already in the school and that kind of thing. So I don't really know how the conversation got started, but Steve McDonald, he was the former coach of Balmoral Hall. He reached out to me. He said that I had a lot of potential and he wanted to kind of build and develop me throughout the last 2 years of my playing. He said I had potential, so he really wanted to work on the development side of it because there were a lot of holes in my game. I didn't really play high level hockey for too long. Like I played the highest provincial I could, but it's not comparable to prep hockey and all that kind of stuff. So I committed to it, and just before the season started, he got an offer to coach Division 1 in the States for Minnesota. So he left, and it was a new coach that came in. And I didn't really know much about this coach, but his daughter played high level in Division 1 hockey and stuff like that. So me, along with the other people that were going to the school, we went for it. It started off okay. The practice, it wasn't really what I expected. The school was amazing. I really liked the combination of practices in our schedules, time management, traveling on weekends, and trying to figure that all out with school. It was very realistic going from that to kind of the college setting. So it did get you prepared for that. But on ice, we didn't really receive the development and stuff that we were promised. It was more, we had a lot of really great players. We had like Megan Dufault, Taylor Woods, like a lot of really talented players that were obviously going to be going Division 1 or Hockey Canada or something like that. So it was kind of a play your best lines to win instead of the develop players to potentially reach their goals of college, that kind of thing. So it wasn't really what we were expecting. So it was a great experience, but I didn't get the development I needed, especially if I wanted to go Division 1 or any kind of college. And this was already in grade 11. So I only had one more year to kind of get my stuff together.
So you decided to go to Shaftesbury.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a better environment? Is it a better development? What makes what makes it better?
So I really like the coaching. The coaching was fantastic. I had him for one of my spring hockey teams that I played for, the Mustangs, when I was maybe like 14 or 15 or something like that. He was the coach for us, and he was just a great guy. He knew what he's talking about. Our assistant coaches were also great too. It was Eugene Kaminsky. And I ran into him randomly during a showcase over the summer. This was after Balmoral Hall. So we were all kind of sitting on a bubble. There's me and probably 9 other players that were all like, okay, we don't really want to go back to Balmoral Hall. What are our other options? What are our teams? So we were kind of looking at like Pursuit of Excellence out in BC and just whatever there was. So we were just in the showcase, and he approached me after one of the games, and he was just saying like, I'm a teacher at Shaftesbury Public School. I'm looking to start a prep program out of here. We play in the Canada League, and we do tournaments out in across the states, like Lake Placid, that kind of stuff. He said, I have a couple girls that are interested. I have 3 or 4 that are committed right now that would want to join if the team was there. Do you think you'd be interested in coming here? It'd be a great addition to the team, and it'd be a good drawing point to have someone that like played for Balmoral Hall have a little bit of interest coming in. So I was like, yeah, I'll go for it. There wasn't really a team ready or anything like that. Weren't even set in the league, but I had a lot of confidence in him. And then after that, I talked to a couple of other girls that I played with. Our parents kind of talked, and we were able to get maybe 8 of the other girls that were looking for other options to come over to Shaftesbury. So it was pretty much my Balmoral team that shifted over to Shaftesbury. and we had a lot of success there. It was a good combination of school and hockey. We had a lot of good skill development. We also had a really good goalie coach. We had a good defense coach, all that kind of stuff. Trevor Hildebrand was the defense coach there, so we got a lot of reps in. It was really fun having all the travel on the weekends, and it was a good kind of integration of like school and hockey at the time. And we got a lot of showcases that we went to. We got a lot of interest from a lot of Division 3 schools, a lot of Division 1 interest, some CIS and that kind of stuff. So overall, that was probably the best move I could have done at that point.
So now UConn comes knocking at your door. I don't know if you have 10 schools knocking at your door, one. How do you settle on UConn, and how do you decide that they're the right fit for you? And bearing in mind, I'm way older again. I will.
Yeah.
Your recruiting experience is probably way different than mine. You had internet and you had other things. We were actually still sending letters. Schools were back in the day when I got recruited. So
I got a couple letters like that too. So
okay, so
that was still a theme.
That's what you're saying. You're catching up to me.
Yeah. But the UConn process was kind of similar to my Balmoral process, except for the coach that I had in the end was a really good coach that I enjoyed. But there was a coaching change before I showed up, so that was a little bit of a stressful situation. But getting recruited by them, the summer going into my year at Shaftesbury, I played for this Western Canada team. It's just a collection of players from BC to Manitoba, and you go play a tournament, you do a couple like college tours, that kind of thing, and then you come back. And for that tournament, I was with a couple of my friends. I was actually recruited at that tournament, or first seen at that tournament. So I played my first game. I got hit from behind the net, and I got a concussion. Like immediately I came off the bench, was throwing up, all that kind of stuff. I don't think the coaches noticed or anything like that. So I just went out my next shift because it was
up on the bench.
Yeah, they had we had a couple like Team Canada prospects that their parents were the coaches. So
okay. So
we didn't really get much attention there. We were kind of just thrown into it. But yeah, so I came off, I was throwing up, and then sure enough, he's like, "Oh, it's your turn, get back out there." So got up, went back out there, and I ended up getting recruited or getting interest by UConn with the former coaches. So they started talking to me probably within 2 or 3 weeks. I don't really remember the eligibility, like when you're allowed to get talked to, that kind of stuff, but it was my grade 12 year. I think I first got contact with them in kind of October. So then playing through Shaftesbury, they came and watched a couple of my games. And then November, they asked me to come for an official visit. So at this point, I didn't really have too much interest from a lot of Division 1. I had a bunch of D3. Or University of Manitoba was really wanting me to come play in Canada. University of BC, like British Columbia, not Boston College, I wish, but they were really interested in me as well. So I was talking to them at this point. And then in the States, I had St. Cloud was interested. There was a little bit of talk with like Bemidji. It would have been like a redshirt year and potentially scholarship after that. So an expensive option. And then UConn had a lot of interest. So I started talking to them a bit. I went for my official visit in November. I toured the campus, met all the girls, that kind of stuff with the old coach. And I really enjoyed it. The campus was beautiful, huge trees, lots of hills. It was a big campus. I think it's like 25,000 people at the school. The athletic program was really good. We had all the sports, football, basketball, really great basketball team. It was just a really good athletic environment. You could tell they had a lot of funding in their sports, and to be able to play for that school would have been really nice. And I wanted to get away from home. So I just thought it was a great option. And pretty much on the spot, I verbally committed right there. Couple months later, they sent over the signing for the official signing letter of intent. So I signed that almost immediately, and that was pretty much where it was. Yeah. And I committed right there.
Awesome. That's a great story.
Yeah.
You have 4 successful years. You grow as a player. You become a captain. I believe you go overseas.
Yes. Yeah. So after I finished up at college.
About overseas, I don't think a lot of people understand that there's a female league overseas that allows you to see the world, make some money, and play hockey still?
Yeah, so there's a lot of leagues out in Europe. There's also like the professional league that's out in, I think they play like, I think the teams in Canada are part of it, but they also just started Team China's in it, and I believe like there's China, Russia, and all those teams also have like a really good, high-paying professional women's league. And there's also a league out in Australia too that has not the best hockey, but it is a great option if you want to travel and that kind of thing. So I played in Austria. The league I was in played with a couple teams in the area. So I played a team in Salzburg, Austria. We played Hungary, Slovakia, I believe, and a couple other teams in the region. I think Italy too. So it was just a great opportunity to travel, go to all these different countries. Like you'd go play a game in a different country, stay for a couple nights at a hostel, and do some more traveling on your own. It was definitely a really fun experience. The hockey was not comparable to college level, although there were a lot of players in Hockey East that I played against in my college that were playing for other teams in Europe. It wasn't super high paying, but they covered all your expenses. They gave you a car, they gave you a place to stay, you had groceries, you played, I think, 2 or 3 games a week, and you had practices throughout the week as well. And it was just, yeah, it was a great opportunity. I met some really cool people. The other imports were awesome. And it was a great way to spend another season.
Yeah, awesome. I played 5 years in Switzerland, so I appreciate the overseas
Yeah.
experience. One of my daughters was born there, so whenever I hear someone going, I love to hear their side of it and how they got to travel. Now you're
Yeah.
back in Manitoba. You are a coach. You
Mhm.
work with teams. How do you take a piece of every coach you like and dislike and put it into your arsenal as a coach, growing your craft?
That's a good question. I I just, especially reflecting on when I was a kid, I don't have much memory of my hockey when I was younger, but I little things stand out about, okay, this one coach, I really liked his energy. He was really positive all the time. Then there's this other coach who really paid attention to detail on my skating, and the skating is what got me recruited. And I just picked on little things that worked for me and how I responded to them. And I just kind of put it together, and I built all the things that I liked about each coach. It's as simple as you said it. Like you just pick what you liked about each coach, what worked for you, what worked for other players that had a different mentality than you. And you just have to kind of keep it stored in there so you can apply it to other players. Because especially with female hockey, it's a big mental game. And when it comes to coaches, it's good to be able to coach to each denominator. Like there are some people that really thrive off constructive criticism right off the bat. A couple players are harder on themselves than you could ever be on them. So when they come off from a bad shift, you can't immediately tell them what they did wrong. You have to let them kind of dwell in it a little bit, and then they'll bounce back after that. So it's really important to see those elements of those coaches that you responded well to, but also see how other players that had a different kind of build than you responded to them as well. So I think that's another important thing. But yeah, so I use that, and so far it's been working for me.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed coaching. I coach U15 and U13, so I really enjoy coaching both those teams, and they seem to respond really well to the coaching style I have, and I get good feedback, so that's really beneficial there.
One more question. As a female
Mm-hmm.
coach, did you have a lot of female coaches? And do you see,
No.
I see a huge difference
Mm-hmm.
when we work together and we work with a female group. No matter, I have daughters at home, no matter how lovey and dovey and fun I can be, I don't have the same link. Do you
Yeah.
see that? And did you have that growing up, or did you only have male coaches?
So I definitely see that. Like, it's been a huge change. Like when I was younger, it's boys club was kind of everything. It's always like a dad would be the coach, or moving up, it's always male coach, male coach. And it was great. Like I responded well to them. But when I went to Shaftesbury, I had the assistant coach, Sherry Clark. She was the assistant coach, and like just having a female influence makes a big difference. I don't really know much about why that's the case, but I think it's just kind of, you have someone to look up to that didn't play, like, as much as I love the WHL, NHL, that kind of stuff, it's all boys hockey. I'm never going to play there. Like, it doesn't apply to me, but someone that is a female that's been through it, it's just almost like a goal you can reach. You can look up to them. You can see that, okay, they did it. I have potential. I can do something else too. it's just a little bit of a difference there. And now that there's more of an interest in female hockey, I see now a lot of girls that I played against and that kind of stuff are coaching all across Winnipeg. Like all the AA and AAA leagues always have female head coaches or assistant coaches. Like it's something that I definitely didn't have that I see the benefit of having.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And we see
Yeah.
with the Storm and all the girls you work with that you have the link with them. So it's definitely interesting. Look, I appreciate you taking the time. I know some tough questions. I'm not always upfront with the questions, but I appreciate the time, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah, thank you so much.